All right, you guys, back with another live stream. Please share, subscribe, hit the like button for me, and let's get to this live. God's shocking seven judgment coming to America. Now, everything I shared in the last two episodes was to get you here to this point, which means if you are new here, then this is not the place to start. Just as quick recap here, well, we always explore. First, we look at what judgment actually is, and the two parts of judgment, which are the insurance of the judgment and the execution of that judgment. Then we look at who can issue and execute judgment, which is God. And though He delegates that authority to, we discuss the specific people in the entirety in part one. In part two, we look at the things we do not want. God's judgment is some of the way of God can choose to execute judgment against a person, group, or system. Now it's time for us to explore God's judgment of America and the next step for us as followers of Christ. Now, God's judgment upon the nation, God is going to judge America. In fact, God has already begun to judge America. If you had the eyes to see, then you can see that America is a nation full of wickedness. Americans have committed on a large scale most, if not all, of the things are highlighted in the last episode that are things that bring upon the judgment of God. And God has always warned of coming judgment in order that people may choose to change their behavior or avoid it. He warned Noah of the coming flood. We see in Genesis 6:13, Abraham and Lot of the future destruction of Solomon, Genesis 18:17, 19:14. Joseph of the 7 years of famine, Genesis 41:30. Moses of the 10 plagues on Egypt, Exodus 7 verse 1. Jonah of the destruction. Here are the seven judgments of America as prophesied by the Apostle Joshua. The judgment is for the maltreatments of the poor and the needy. Remember, lack of concern for the poor and the needy. Striking the poor and needy was number 2 on the last in part 2 as support he cited in Isaiah chapter 10, 1 and 2, which says, "Whom to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees, deprive the poor of their rights, and withhold justice for the oppressed of my people, making widows their prey and robbing the fatherless." God is going to release judgment against those who are doing this. And it will be in the form of this economic judgment. The wealth transfer from the wicked to the just is a part of this economic judgment. Now, we're going to get started. I'm going to roll this clip. I want y'all to listen to what the sister had to say about the fall of this American system.
True, and they are righteous, and they are coming to do what? Balance the scales. Hey y'all, I'm Javielle, and you're listening to the Purpose Collective Podcast, where each week I invite you to have a seat on the couch and come vibe with me as we explore how to live out our life's purpose. Welcome back. I am Javielle, the host of the Purpose Collective, which is a space where we allow God to develop us and deliver us so that we can discover our destiny and our purpose in Him. So everything that I shared in the last 2 episodes was to get you to this point, which means that if you are new here, then this is not the place to start. But if you're not new here, you've already consumed the last 2 episodes, then here's just a quick recap of what we've already explored. So first, we looked at what judgment actually is, and we evaluated the 2 parts of judgments, which are the issuance of the judgment and the execution of that judgment. Then we looked at who can issue judgments and who can execute judgments. This is how to hold a nation together that is on track for God's judgment and His wrath. God is going to begin to clean perversion out of this country. It's unclear how He's going to choose to execute that judgment, but it's coming. God's judgments are true and they are righteous, and they are coming to do what? Balance the scales. Welcome back. I am Javielle, the host of the Purpose Collective, which is a space where we allow God to develop us and deliver us so that we can discover our destiny and our purpose in Him. So everything that I shared in the last 2 episodes was to get you to this point, which means that if you are new here, then this is not the place to start. But if you're not new here, you've already consumed the last 2 episodes, then here's just a quick recap of what we've already explored. So first, we looked at what judgment actually is, and we evaluated the 2 parts of judgments, which are the issuance of the judgment and the execution of that judgment. Then we looked at who can issue judgments and who can execute judgments, which God, of course, can do that, and also those that He delegates that authority to. And we're talking about spiritual judgments here. Then in part 2, we looked at the things that we do that bring about God's judgment. And we look at some of the ways that God can execute judgment against a person, against a group of people, a nation, or against a system. So now it is finally time for us to explore God's judgment of America and the next steps for us as followers of Christ, now that we know that God's impending judgment is upon us. I feel like I have to say this, but listen, God is going to judge America. In fact, God has already begun to judge America. So if you have eyes to see, then you can see.
Now let's get started, because the judgment has come to America. When we look at the great dreadful days of the Lord has now come to America. We see the lands and people who worship evil. We see the robbery. We see the murder, rape, famine, and decease are the orders of the days in America. Now, if there is anything like a God of righteousness, if there is anything like God of truth, should not he raise himself up and take his place and put an end to such evil as now going on in America? We see people cannot walk these streets of America today without subjecting themselves to robbery, murder, or rape. America is a wicked land, and everyone is against the other. We see righteousness, we see justice, freedom are despised and fought against, regardless to the clear knowledge of God's hourly punishment and destruction of America by his divine pledge of storms. But this is as it is written of America in the book of Revelations and the Bible. They continue their evil ways and did blasphemy to God, who have power over these pledges. They hate the name of the great Mahdi. See, they hate the name of his messengers. But nevertheless, that does not stop this judgment that's coming to America. Look at the wicked devil we see in Alabama. See, they are against us while we are trying to be at peace with them. But there is no peace in them. See, we had done nothing to them. See, they are against us just because of the idea that we are Muslims, black people. See, the white man have his way of ruling the black people for so long that he think that he still has the power to do so, while in reality, the white man have come to an end of his time of power to rule the black people. See, regardless to allow God retaliation to the white man for his evil act done to the black man. So the white man still keeps inviting the retaliation of Allah God. So the white man must remember that he cannot win today over Allah God and his servants, for he has power. See, the judgment of America. The judgment have come to you, America. Now whom to you who seeks to fight against Allah and against his aim and purpose. Now whom to you, America, Allah God has made you blind to his judgment, therefore you are committing suicide. He has made you blind on purpose to give you the full dose of his wrath. When man does not know the danger of fire, then he can fall headlong into it. America has mistreated the black man for 400 years. And she does not think that there is ever a God who accept her black slave, return on her head the injustice done to her black slave. This is the day and time in which America could benefit from what Allah God has revealed to me and from the work that I'm doing among my black people, turning them from doing evil into righteousness. As it is written in the Bible, Babylon could have been healed, but Babylon was not healed. And there was a possible chance for a healing if she had not gone to the extreme by making fun of the God of the Jews and their temple in Jerusalem and belittling the powers of the God of the Jews to retaliate. The Bible. Now, the Bible prophesies of these plagues that are now coming upon America. And these plagues are falling on America now. And yet, she will not repent. For America continued to kill the black on slave of righteousness and justice. Even though the black slave want to go from America, she wants to hold on to him. America does not want to let her black slave go. America holds the black slave for a prey. Whom to America? You see, her days have arrived. She will not heed the warning. I beg you to let us be separated from her on little territory and a state to ourselves, to let us be responsible for our own survival, only to get out under her injustice. But she refused. So we see it was in a time with Pharaoh, in the time of Moses. We see God went down to Egypt to make Israel her enemies, the Egyptian example for a future people, so that this may serve as a sign for what we see going on in America today. Before a great judgment, that Allah God promised to destroy America, which are now coming upon her. Hail, snow, drought, earthquakes. Allah God have reserved his treasure of snow and ice to be used against this wicked country, America, in the days of battle and war. These are some of Allah God's weapons, the storms that we see going on. See, the white man of America is not blind and ignorant. He had known these prophecies of his doom for a long time before we knew it. Well, the white man translates the Bible. He knows what he puts in his translation of that which was written in the Bible. The judgment of America. We see all love and respect of the wicked are gone from them. See, they do not love each other, nor respect each other. We see they have pulled off their clothes and disgraced themselves. We see this is also a pledge. We see some of the white people rehearse the cage days of their fathers, and they are not ashamed to do so. They come out with long, straggly hairs, as their fathers did in their days of their cage. See, this is Allah God forcing the white man to bear him witness that they really wants the caveman. Yet, a few foolish, unlearned black people follow the white man. It is a shame to pull off their clothes and grow hair down their backs, lower their face, by misleading this black man. Fall in the ways of the white man, savage cage lives. See, the white man again telling the world that he has deceived it, the black man. It's now making this black man manifest that he's too weak to seek his own. For nearly 40 years, I have been preaching to this black man in America that we should accept our own. Instead of this black man going to the decent side of his own, he goes back seeking transitional Africa in a way they did in the jungle life, in a way you see in uncivilized parts of Africa today. See, they are not using barber tools, sneers, razors to keep themselves looking dignified as a civilized people should look. See, the black man in America accepted this jungle life, thinking that he would get the love for black Africa. The black brothers and black sisters, see, wearing savage dress and hairstyles will not get you the love for Africa. The identified people of Africa are neither Muslims or educated Christians. But Africa today does not want this Christianity. Do not think that you will get a home in Africa after this war if you are a Christian. To get a home in Africa after the war, you will have to be a Muslim. See, the judgment of America, she is made manifest, as it is written in the Bible, Revelation. She is a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. See, every unclean and hateful human being. America, America, your days have come. For the evil done to your black slave. America, you cannot repay the evil with another evil by trying to tempt this black slave or offer them your white woman. That does not help you in this day, but it does condemn you as being a double crosser. That you even offer your black one slave, your girls and women, to do with them as they please if they would just follow you. See, the judgment of America. Babylon could have been healed, but she was not healed. We see America just beginning to experience sorrows, mourning, griefs, and distrust for the anger of God and man, according to both the Holy Quran and the Bible. There will be plenty more of the same. In these two books, one can easily find everything foretold that is happening today. The time will grow so terrible, son, that according to the Holy Quran, children will become grave-head. According to the Bible, great heart failures become a disease upon the people who have the anger of God, the American people. The fourth beast and the revelation of John and the Bible, and of which Daniel describes as a very dreadful, well-armed beast who working on that a death upon the weak, refers to America. She had no respect for the poor and unfortunate. Daniel's description of the rib between the teeth of the beast is the reference to this ill treatment. We see subjection, ruthless behavior by the devil to our people. This we see America with Latin, the poor with heavy sentences, long prison terms, refuse to let this prisoner go free. See, this is due to a heartlessness and lack of compassion for the black man of America. The beast, white man lies and waits around this black man homes and probes the streets at night and wait for an excuse to wreak his ruthlessness on his poor prey, the black man. Now, if the black man raised a hand to protect and defend himself, he is shot dead and is unable to defend himself against false charges. This beast keeps our people in sorrow and unhappiness by depriving them of equal opportunity. The black man rages are calculated by white wicked accountants, preventing the so-called nickel from saving by skyrocketing and the views of the poor of the prices of the necessary of life. We see this white beast persecute, imprison, and kill those who preach freedom and justice for the poor so-called nickel. The white man does not want this so-called nickel to leave America, but she would not divide the spoil of America, the country which she hath taken by force of arms and killing its owners, the Indians, with them. This beast set up evil to be allies as a god. She discussed good for evil. She covered the earth with filth, making it fascinating so that man will bow down and worship evil for good. She set brothers against brothers for joy, and then she kills both of them. Whom to America, the murderers and deceivers of the people. The God of justice and truth has pronounced it a judgment against you, and by no means will you escape. You have made mockery of him, God and his people, and his words, the truth. You have been judged and found wanting to the so-called American nation, the lost and now found members of the black nations of the earth. Come unite with Allah. See, go to your own. You don't have to go anywhere if you only unite with your own. Heaven awaits you, wherever you may be. America is surrounded with the judgment of Allah. We see the four great judgments that Almighty Allah God is bringing upon America are rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. We see them now covering on all sides of America. As the Holy Quran, Surah 13:41, prophesies, curtain her on all her sides. And these judgment will push the people into the center of the country. And they will realize that it's Allah God who is bringing them in a country to a nothing. We see in Job, and the Bible prophesies it, that Allah God has that snow and ice to use as his weapons. In the days of war and battle against the wicked, we hear and read in the newspapers today of how great hill like little mountains of snow are pushing down from the north, and now only in the northern states. We see Minnesota, North and South Dakota, and Montana. But now the snow is in the New England states, and they are declared to be disaster areas. The announcer of disaster snow in its New England states says that there had never been such great quantity of snow. You see all up and down the coast to the Carolinas. The rain takes up where the snow leaves off. All around the southern borders of America, storms are raging. There are tornadoes and heavy rain, and more storms are on the way, one right after another. In the north, we see, and far west, in the east, America is surrounded with the judgment of Allah God. There are earthquakes, and the seas is raging. We see the Pacific Ocean is now angry and raging and tossing up great waves as never before. Now, why should these things hit America? Now, the Revelation teach you why. It is because America is filled with devils, and they have such unclean person living in America that is true under hateful birds. We see every filthy, shameless, wicked person will come here for a haven where he can do any wickedness he wants to do. And the country is open to welcome that type of person. As we see, the few little Muslims, who name Muslim means those who have submitted to the will of Allah God. See how the enemy hates me and hates us and seeks to do all the evil he possibly can against us by falsehood. See, these are not the days of Noah, Lot, and Abraham, nor are these the days of Moses. See, these are new times. See, the enemy does not get away in punishing the righteous just because he hates them. Allah, the God of righteous, is with us. And he just laughed at those who tried to fight against him. He had destroyed a whole nation with less than the power of rain, hail, snow, earthquakes, fire. See, the Holy Quran has a record of people even being destroyed. Allah God does not have to have something great. He does not have to go to work and get a block of iron or a mountain and throw it on him. He used that which is with you, against you. The force of nature are great weapons as we see them in play upon America. Storms after storms of snow and ice are whirling in from the north and are pushing great drifts that are just covering up everything. What can you do with a God like that? We see Job prophesies that Allah God has his weapons stored up to use in the days of battle and war with the wicked. He just takes some snow and cover them up. The Holy Quran says that Allah God destroyed people with just cold winds. He froze them. Do you think that you can get away with fighting Allah God? See, no wonder the second song says that he would sit in the heavens and laugh at those who are trying to fight against him. He'll have you crazy. It is true. We see the heads of the governments of the Christian world are confused, and they do not know that they are confused. Why? Because the greatest desire was to confuse us. Now Allah God has taken confusion out of us and put it into them. Now eat, America. Help yourself to this desert that you have prepared for us. So you eat it now. All praise are due to Allah, God, who came in person of Master Fala Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever. Now we went to Alabama, and to any states that we go to, we pay a high price per acre of land that our fathers had labor already brought for us. Now he wants to kill us and act humble and peaceful and want to buy back some of our own labors. Now I laugh at some of these things that I hear coming out of Alabama. And not only in Alabama, but every other state we see in the Union. So they do not know the time in which they are living. Allah God is well able to take this country from you and give it to whom he pleases. See, it is in your Bibles. Read it for yourself. He took this kingdom from this wicked and gave it to whom he pleases. Those who will bring people into righteousness. We see America surrounded with the judgment of Allah. We see this four great judgment of rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes, and the confusion and the head of states. The four great judgment of America is coming from Almighty God, Allah. To be pledged with too much rain will destroy properties and lives. It swells the rivers and creeks. See, too much rain will flood cities and towns. See, large bodies of water at the ocean shoreline will be made to swell with unusual highways, dumping billions of tons of water over the now seashore lines. Rain destroy properties and kill cattle by drowning them in lowlands. Rain destroyed the hiding places of victorious beasts, reptiles, and bringing them out, fighting in small towns, people homes, and farms. Rain weakens and destroys railroads, truck lines, bread, and bridges. Rain undermines foundation all types of buildings. Rain makes the atmosphere too heavy with moisture, causing sickness. Wind with rain can bring destruction to towns and cities, bringing various germs, causing sickness to the people. Produce unclean water by the swelling of the stream and destroying of the pure drinking water, used for the health of the people. Rain is a destructive army with itself. Hailstorms are also a property and life destroyer. See, snow is of the most dreaded pledge when it comes in great drifts from 5 to 35 feet. It buries your property and lives. It destroyed your highways and cities, and gravel towns and cities. It put a burden of expense upon the cities. It put a burden of expense upon the cities to repair it. The cage in a roof of home, we see the cutting off of homes, the cutting off of transportations, isolation areas, bring about the starvation. The communication is destroyed with the icing of the communication wires. Snow looks pretty because of its clean look. Almost everything in nature is beautiful, but it can be turned into death and destruction against man. Snow is prophesied to be one of the weapons that our God will use against this wicked country of America. In Job 38:22 and 23, hell also is mentioned in the same two verses, where God plainly tells us that He hath preserved it against the time of trouble, against the days of battle and war. The Holy Quran also teaches that God used snow, rain, wind, hail, earthquakes, and fire against former wicked people. Is America any better than the people we read about in history that God destroys? No, she's not as good. See, these people was not as wicked as the American people. See, earthquakes can destroy towns and cities instantly. America is in a grip of divine judgment. America is in the position towards a one slave, so-called Negro, as Pharaoh was with Israel as his slave. She is in this position today because of injustice done to the American so-called Negro slave brought to America over 400 years ago and refuses to let them go free. They only say that you are free, knowing within that you are not able to leave them without anything. But this injustice continued to increase. Now they plan death. So this God was predicted by the prophet to come to the defense of these people, the so-called Negro, in these last days after they served the enemy for 400 years. The Bible declared to Abraham in Genesis that God would judge the people to whom his people Abraham will be in bondage. This does not mean Israel. This means the present black people, the member of the black nations who have and are fulfilling the prophecy. God and the person of Master Fala Muhammad will not be defeated. See, the more evil, deceiving, tricky, making false promises to the American so-called Negro only increases America's divine chastisement and doom. America knows that her trouble lies in her mistreatment of the black man, the so-called Negro. But she is too wicked to give up tricking the Negro and deceiving him on false promises. She just cannot stop. The opportunity is to open, and she thinks that there is no one to hinder her. But God has chosen us to be His people, and He delights in fighting the enemy. According to the history of the former people, He delights Himself by going forth against them when they extended the limit. So it is with America. They must be separate. America will not agree to see the Negro separate from her until she has suffered divine punishment as Pharaoh suffered. The same things the other evil nations suffered before them is now coming upon This people. She seeks to keep her slave rob opportunity and wealth. She envies success coming to this American Negro free slave. She charged them high prices to keep them down. She deceived them through a few of what we call Uncle Toms in the political circle, class, and all professional classes. You see, she offered them little favoritism to help her work against their own people, the black people. But they too would suffer along with the enemy of justice of the poor so called Negro. They must be separate. See, envy, hatred are going between the two people, regardless of their preaching of social integration. The truth must come. What is better than a program you find I have written? Two blacks and whites cannot get along in peace. Since you have never gotten along in peace, do you know why? White Americans does not like to talk with you about separation, and why he calls separation of the two people the wrong solution for peace between the people. He knows that it's promise and that God will do it. Then why do they not agree with separating themselves from you and me and we from them? See, why are these black man and white man all over the earth now in disagreement with each other to live in peace? Do you know why? Oh, foolish American so-called nigga, seek some of this earth that you can call your own to live on in peace. Unite and ask the government for a portion of America. This is what we need. Somewhere to live to ourselves. Let the white man live to himself. The two people are not brothers. See, they are aliens to each other. God did not make them brothers to each other. I ask you, my brothers and sisters, to learn this and learn it quickly. See, fly for your life to the refuge of Allah and come follow me. Now, American lands we see is being divinely curtained. The Holy Quran, Surah, chapter 13, 41. We see that we are visiting a land and curtain it of its sides. And Allah pronounced a doom. And there is no repeller of his decree. And we see that he is swift in calling things into account. Now, black man America, there is no one as blind as you are seeing what is going on today against America. I have been warning you for nearly 40 years that Allah God and the person of Master Fala Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever, came to me and gave me this knowledge of the truth, and have been preaching this to you continually. Now, we see what is going on as America has done. So now we see it's being done into her. America has surrounded the country of the people. She has blown the cities to pieces, and she has killed the inhabitants. We see those who was left alive, she put to flight, running from shelter, received from destruction by American might. It is very sad and horrible to look at the things that America has done, which are now coming on this country. We see in many years and centuries of years, America have lived a luxurious, wild, wicked life. while hating her black slave and depriving him of justice, shooting him down on the streets and on the highways, in the woods and fields for nothing. She did it just because she felt that she has the advantage and she wanted to kill black people as she was made to do. The Bible, Psalms chapter 10, verse 8. He sat in these lurching places of the village, in a secret place. Do he murder the innocents? Now his eyes are set against the poor. Up until this very minute, she's seeking to destroy this black man America and to rob him of the freedom to do for self. America never desired departure for the black slave from his white slave master. America wished only to hold this black slave in order to continue to treat him with evil. Now, Pharaoh hatred and injustice to Israel and Egypt in the time of Moses to serve America as a final warning. But she had fallen headlong into the destruction of Allah God. Now, America runs to and fro, seeking way out, but she does not try to justify her black slave for justice and equality amongst the nations of the earth. America made us into nothing, and she used us to mock us before the nations of the earth. But a God with unlimited wisdom, we see knowledge, power, is now befriending the black slave, and he has chosen this black slave to be his people. But the foolish black people have yet to come into that knowledge that Allah God is their best friend and that he is here to save them from destruction. But people who have shown evil and hatred to us all our lives, America divided us one against the other. So the black man America is so divided against each other that you seek all the time to do evil against each other. You cannot even befriend them lest they take advantage of it. They call you a fool for trying to befriend them, as it was with us by Midway Technical Schools. You see, Midway Technical Schools came to us for help, and we gave them that help to keep them from falling. See, it cost us $30,000 to set them free of their backrents, of the bills that they had. Take a look on how they had turned on us for the purpose of wrecking all their beautiful business set up for them and others to enjoy on the south side of Chicago, Illinois. The fall of America foretold separation is the answer. The Holy Quran, Surah 81, verse 6, 7, and 12, when the cities are set on fire and when mans are united. The folding up is the title taken from this first verse of that chapter in which the above verses are found. And when the sun is folded up, the Holy Quran, Surah 81, verse 1, prophesies the folding up of a recorded work, a record of what people had done as it used will no longer be necessary. This chapter refers to what take place in the resurrection. One party is recorded as the beginning, but the other party discontinued. We see this clearly being made manifest today. War causes destructions of civilizations, and war will destroy cities and towns of a nation. This chapter 81 of the Holy Quran is now being fulfilled. The sun we see, and the stars, mountains, and camels, wild animals we see are all mentioned in the first 4 verses of this chapter. and are not without. The coming of God refers to by the prophet is unite a people who have been divided against self by the enemies, and he choose these people for building a better world. We see in the Bible, Revelation refers to the destruction of the beast and his chief instructor, the dragon. The name beast given here is not referred to 4-foot animals, but to a people who rule is like that of a savage beast. And theologians, most of them from the time of Martin Luther, who I think was the author of these terms. Beast, dragon, especially we see the late Pastor Russell and Judge Rutherford, founder of Jehovah's Witnesses, takes the term dragon to refer to the Pope of Rome, the father of the Christian church and the Christian religion. See, this is the first time since we have been lost and is part of the earth that we want to unite the black nation of the earth into one under the guidance of God who is now present. Why should a master continue to deceive his slave? He teaches that the slave that he's a free citizen with equality. Why do you slave master want to hold them for hostage? Pray. See, you do not need them. Your machines do the labors that the slave used to do. Why not let them go? See, you want to go to war against Allah and the freedom that Allah came to do for you slaves. For you, Pharaoh had that same idea. He did not want Israel to go free and a land to themselves. So Pharaoh lost this war against Allah and was drowned in the Red Sea. The loser of this war will land in a lake of fire, not water. If white America wants to free her slaves, she can easily do so. This will be simpler and easier than what she is doing, killing and provoking them through police force, National Guards, and finally in the U.S. Army, as we see in Chicago. American actions show us two things. Firstly, she wished to call fear amongst the so-called Negro with a display of many deadly weapons. But Allah is removing the fear. Secondly, she fears to approach armed slave unless she is armed. Now, this has been the historical relations between this white man and his slaves. So the white man seeks the leaderships of the so-called Negro to help him keep the dissatisfied slave subject to him without injustice. The white man will say, nigga, now you should be happy. You are better off than many of your black kind with a job. The white slave master have brought our fathers here to do the slave work. Now our free laborers have made this white slave master richer than their brethren Europeans. Now did they offer us any of this land that they took from the Indians? The 22 million so-called niggers should be seeking some of this earth on which to live and build an independent nation out of itself. The white slave master only offers a job. Allah God has come and the personal master Falah Muhammad, whom praise or due favor, to free us. The Negro slave must be free. This is the meaning of the resurrection. Allah God has said to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that he intends to free the American so-called Negro at any price. For 400 years, you slave masters have been killing the so-called Negro without receiving any resistance, regardless of his peaceful way with you. See, we the Muslims have tried to live here in peace in America. There is not a single instant in our 36 years of history where we have ever made an aggressive move against you. But you have attacked us several times. We have proved to the world that you are impossible to live with in peace. You have condemned and killed the just and he who do not resist you. James 5:6. You have destroyed many towns, cities, and people, as you have divided the so-called iniquity one against the other. So Allah should devise you and your brethren. As you have done to others, so shall it be done to you. The Bible. And when her cities are set on fire, this is a sign of the end of you as a power. Now the house is doomed to fall. We cannot deny the fact that the Christian rest is responsible for this universal corruption in the land and sea, and from the same corruptions that their own hands have made will come their doom. We see this Christian preach that which they do not do, cannot do, such as love your neighbors. I have yet to meet one who loved his neighbor as did himself. Thou shalt not kill. I have yet to meet such a Christian. We see today they even fight against each other, rob and kill each other, but yet represent themselves as world peacemakers with whom the great deceivers of the world will weep what they have sown. Had they not corrupt many people, a nation under disgust of good, peaceful, loving Christians. The Christian rest is full of the worst crimes we see, practicing evil and to the fullest, and seeking to practice them on other nations as well. The universal temper are ever parading before the world. They both have new girls and women's. We see they are before your eyes, and almost everything from murdering, gambling, robbery, drunkenness, drugs, adultery, lying. There is hardly any end to it. We see their lands and seas are filled with deadly weapons of wars. The islands of the seas are filled with corruptions by all other nations of earth, for they are proud and boastful, and are now hated and despised according to their wishes. The religion of Christianity is a curse to us. The black man and is full of slavery teachings. We see they have poisoned the Bible, what they adding to and taken from the truth. Now we see their doom is in sight. It is their own work to command the seas with their powerful navies, parking them off the shores of other nations, to secure the air base on their soils, to place the deadly bombs carrying planes within easy striking distance of those whom they fear to be their enemies. Is this not the easy way to make an enemy? Is this the act we see of a real Christian? We see the follower of Jesus, whom they preached came for the peace of mankind and to teach the seeking of the sword and the turning of the other cheek. Now, where's the good Christian amongst this race? They love men and other people's affairs. We see they are ever fight of wars, if it matters not with whom or where, but yet crying peace, peace, with every deadly weapons of war to provoke other nations to war. Now, shall not God of peace and justice deal with you and your troublemaking, as he had did with those before you? Now I warn every one of you, my people, fly to Allah with me for refuge, as I warn you. We see the judgment of this world has arrived. Get out of the slave making Christianity into the right religion, Islam. The house you are in shall surely fall and never rise again. The destruction and fall The destruction and fall of the world that we have known is now without a doubt and process. When we refer to the world, see, we are referring to the world of the white man, for the world of the black man have yet to come in. See, the world of the black man, by divine guidance, is now merging in on the old world of the right race. This makes the destruction and fall of the world of the white man. Here in America, we cannot see nothing but this fall of America. It is no secret to us. It is obvious to the eyes that are now open. If we want to close eyes and minds and claim that we do not see and understand, then we'll be falling ourselves. This refusal to see is foolhardily, regardless to how we may desire to see this old world stand. We do not have the power to starve off the destruction that caused the world or the white man to fall. Destruction and power that is bringing about the fall of the world of the white man is coming from Allah God. In the past history of the world of the white man, there was never a time of destruction of this world like the present time. We see it's useless for you to try to prevent this fall of the white man's world. There is no checking it. The white race had not tried to do the right thing, justice. The doing of justice would have checked her fall. The Bible, Jeremiah. But America was never willing, and even at this hour, she is not willing to do justice by those who she had mistreated. She had dealt injustice to her black one slave for nearly 500 years that she had been an arrestor. America have constantly burdened the poor black slave with every evil that she can imagine. Her evil scientists, who have invented more and more evil practice, and not been able to invent any more evil than that which they have already put out. We see day and night, without a letter, see the white man mistreat the poor black slave. And now since heaven, the God of peace, justice, freedom, equality have come to this black slave. The white man is trying to make everyone that recognize the truth deviate from it. The white man says, now do not accept it. He makes this black man a hypocrite against his own starvation. So the white man trolls the one who has not as yet accepted the truth of their starvation. And he promised them that which he will never be able to fulfill. We see America's falling. She is now losing the power and authorities that she was enjoying in foreign lands. Her fall is very visible. Wherever her authorities have been exercised in, people are now crying out in one voice, leave us, leave us. America, go home to America. The citizens of other countries are telling the American citizens, leave us. America no longer have friends. America and England deposited little brother Israel on foreign soil, the Palestinians, which is Arab land. They deceived the Arabs of their own lands and sent them off. We see this injustice against the Arabs. It's now calls on America the power and authority that she once exercised in the East. She is on her way out of the Near East. Now this means bloodshed and plenty of it. We see in the Near East there stand navies which are neither American nor British. They are there to drive America out. Skies over there are beginning to thicken with foraging planes carrying deadly weapons, guns, and bombs. They will not be satisfied as long as Israel is in Palestine. The boil has come to a bursting point. We are in a troubled world. We are in a world that is now erupting. Black man who was once a slave in America, you have a way of escape. The way out is now your own terms. It is on the condition that you submit to Allah God. Come follow me. This is the only way out. I am the door and the keys to your starvation. Reject it and die. See, we are in a world that is falling, soon be going up in flame. In Germany, the Cold War between East and West will soon erupt into a hot war. It will never be settled in peace. East and West, we see Germany must and will fight it out with all the deadly weapons that the war scientists have planted and perfect for the final showdown. You do not have to worry too much about whether or not America is coming out of Asia. Certainly we see America is coming out of Asia, but we see the odds are against her staying there. But I warn you, black brothers, black sisters here in America, that while she is on the way home, we the black people are standing in the crossfire. The only hope that we have to fly to our refuge and allow God look at what is going on to the south of us. See, look at many hijacks, stick up the planes. America's afraid to put a stop to the hijack, for she knows that she's going to really run into more than she expects. Now, who would have thought that the big power of America would suffer such disgrace in this day and time? It's to teach you and me, black brothers, that the great power of America is becoming weak, and she is falling. I said, black brothers, join into your own kind. Come follow me. For the world that you and I have known will soon be no more. The days of America's downfall. Now we see Allah has manifested this fall of America, a desire to make this nation fall as a warning to our brothers in Europe. While America and Germany, we see Allah has taught me are the two wicked of the right race. See the wicked deeds that have been performed and are still being performed by white Americans upon the so-called slave are the worst and animal of history. They have been clever enough in their wickedness to make this so-called nigger slave love them, though they are the open enemies and murderers. Allah and the person of Master Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever, now judge Americans, whites, and is causing this total destruction. This like Egypt under Pharaoh, we see an example fulfilling these signs and other prophecies of the doom of these people as foretold by the prophet from Noah and to Jesus. Moses and Jesus are the most outstanding prophets in this history of the Caucasian race. For this past 4,000 years, there are several others contemporaries, but Moses and Jesus are the major prophets of the right race history. The whole of the civilized world today, as prophesied in Isaiah, is against this white man of America. We know Allah, God, hates this wicked American whites, and he's threatened to remove them from the face of this earth. Since white America, the white race in general, have deceived the entire world of black people and their brethren, brown, red, and yellow. Allah now is calling people to wake up and see this white race as they really is, the created enemy of the darker people. As we see today, there will be a general awakening of the darker people into the knowledge of self and the knowledge of their age-old 6,000 year enemy all over the earth. The American white race cannot sincerely give the so-called the slave a square deal. She only desired to deceive them. Today, we see America is trying against her will to give this so called Negro civil rights, which is against their nature and will of the white race. For this first time since this black man had been here, America falsely offered him social equality in certain parts of the country. This social equality consists mostly of permitting the American black race to mix openly with this white man and his women's, the devils. The actual idea, however, is to grant the so-called social equality amongst these lower class of whites. This is done so that the scriptures wherein they prophesy that this white man would tempt, corrupt this so-called nigger with his woman might be fulfilled. God has taught me that the right race was grafted unlike, and being unlike, it is able to attract this black man and black woman, getting them to do all the evil known to this right race. One of the prophets of the Bible prophesies in regard to America as the morning stars abore upon the mountain. We see a great strong people set and battle. Job chapter 2, verse 2. This is a setting we see of a nation for a showdown to determine who will live on this earth. The survivor is to build a nation of peace and to rule the people of the earth forever under the guidance of Almighty God Allah. With the nation setting forth for a final war at this time, God plead for his people, the inheritors of the earth, the so-called American Negro. The so-called Negro is a prey of this white man of America and being held firmly in the white man's powers, along with 2 million Indians who must be redeemed at this time, and will be if the so-called Negro will turn to his Redeemer. The problem we see of this black man in America is his unwillingness to be separated from his 400-year-old enemy. The problem, therefore, we see is harder to solve, especially when the enemy is trying to fascinate this Negro with his lower class girl and women are rating them partly nude before the Negro in every public news media we see, cheap daily newspaper and magazine and radio, TV, and we see the Negro is quick to be intimidated. The problem between these two people, separation, the so-called Negro, so that they may be accepted and respected as equal or superior to other nations, must be solved. This is God's promise to the so-called Negro, the lost we see and found members of the original black nation of this earth. This problem was made through the mouth of his prophets, the Bible and Quran, that he will separate us from our enemies and identified and make us master after this wicked white race have been judged and destroyed for his own evil. But as I said, we see the solving of this problem, which means the redemption of a Negro is hard to do since he loved his enemy. See this Bible in Deuteronomy, Psalms, Isaiah, Matthew, and Revelation. The manifestation of Allah and the judgment between the so-called Negro and the enemy of God and the nation of Islam will make the so-called Negro see and know his enemy, himself, his people, his God, and his religion. The rejection of self. We hear the statement of black educational, political, and Christian class which will express their love for the white man, publicly asking to be his brother, if not his brother-in-law. Now we see this class wants to make it clear to the world that they really love the white race and not the black race. This means that they want to be white instead of black. The devil had made them hate black. They reject the thought of black ever being the rule or equal with the ruler. They act boldly from inferiority, not only for themselves, but for their people. They want to serve themselves and a kind, especially the so-called American Negro, into a race of white people without ending the black race. It is just the opposite with Allah, God, myself, and my followers. See, we want out completely. We want no claim to a kinship with a people who by nature are not our kin. Now read from Genesis to the Revelation in the Bible, and from Surah chapter 2 to Surah 114 of the Holy Quran. By no means are the so-called Negro and white kins. We see God did not create them brothers, nor did he create them to ever become brothers. Now one we see is created enemy against the other. And since the righteous are more powerful than the wicked, Allah, the God of righteousness, set a time of reckoning for enemy, the white man. Separation. We want this separation. We want a home on this earth that we can call home. We want to go for self and lead the enemy who have been sentenced to death by Allah. Revelation 20:10 and 14. From the time he was created. See this subject in the Bible and Quran. No one we see white, black, brown, yellow, and red can prove to me by any scriptures of Allah sent by one of the prophets of Allah that we should not be separated from the white race, that we should believe and follow the religion dictate, shaped, and formed it by the white race theosophans. We see the coming of Allah, and the judgment of this wicked world is made clear by the prophet, saying of the prophet, the so-called reverends, and the proud intellectual class are doomed to destruction with this enemy if they remain with him instead of join in to Allah who loved them and who delivered them and the nations of Islam.